So for 2021, the Mercedes Benz GLA is totally redesigned. Today we're checking out the 2021 AMG 35, which this year has over 300 horsepower. Mercedes-Benz is really putting the AMG styling and the performance in every model, and this one is no different. But what's so great about this is it's more SUV-like than ever before. The previous generation GLA was more racy, hatchback, sedan-based. This is more SUV-like. It's almost 4 inches taller than its predecessor. So today we're borrowing this car from Sun Motor Cars here in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. We'll give you a tour of the outside, a tour of the inside, give you an idea what the pricing is, what the dimensions are, what the engine looks like, and give her our final thoughts at the end. But before we get going, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel here on Overdrive Reviews. I think that's it. It's time to get rolling. So this particular 2021 GLA 35, again with the AMG package, goes for more than $57,000. Now, of course, there are options that aren't that expensive. The GLA 250 front-wheel drive starts way less than that $57,000 price tag. The front-wheel drive 250 starts at $36,000. The 250 4MATIC starts at $38,000, and the AMG base price overall is $47,500. And again, this is the GLA 35. They also make a GLA 45, which again is even more money. Now, no matter what AMG model of this GLA you get for 2021, it comes with 4MATIC standard. 4MATIC standard on the GLA AMG versions. Front-wheel drive is the standard on the GLA base. 4MATIC is an option, but again, $57,000 for this relatively small subcompact car, but it definitely looks a lot better than it did in previous years. Let's get under the hood. All right, so under the hood here, the GLA comes with a 2.0-liter 4-cylinder turbo engine no matter which option you get. The front-wheel drive, the 4MATIC, the AMG, or the non-AMG, they all have a 2.0-liter 4-cylinder engine. This particular GLA 35 has 302 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque and gets about 23 in the city, 29 on the highway for fuel economy. All of the GLAs have an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission, and the 0 to 60 time on this particular GLA 35 is about 5 seconds. Now, if you opt for the GLA 45, which has 382 horsepower, your 0 to 60 time is about 4.5 seconds, 4.3 seconds to 60. Unbelievably quick. Let's also talk about the base engine for the GLA. If you get the base GLA model with front-wheel drive, your horsepower is about 221 horsepower with 258 pound-feet of torque. Again, front-wheel drive is standard. 4MATIC is an option on the base GLA 250. All of the cars have a 13.5-gallon fuel tank. Really nice punchy engine. Of course, if you opt for this engine, you get the nice AMG badging here. You get the stiffer suspension, the better brakes, the more performance. But it's a lot of power in a very small sport utility vehicle. And again, taller than ever before for the 2021 model year. So even though this car is more SUV-like than ever before, it's still not all that tall, only 5.6 inches of ground clearance. But the good news and the best news for 2021 is that this GLA is 4 inches taller than its predecessor. It's like 63.6 inches tall overall. The height, 63.6 inches. The width of this thing, 72.2 inches, 173.6 inches long. The only dimension that is shorter than the predecessor is the length. It's like 0.3 inches shorter than its predecessor, but overall this 2021 is wider and is much taller, which means more interior room and much more cargo space and leg space, head space for all the occupants. So here at the front of the 2021 GLA 35, the AMG version, you can see this really toothy grille here. This is indicative of all the AMG stylings and performance division stuff that they put on their cars. The big Mercedes-Benz star right here, a forward collision mitigation system sensor. I do love this front lip spoiler, really molded and kind of flows really well with the overall design of the car here. Up on these lights, you've got LED high performance lights, really look amazing at night. The front of this car, super aggressive. I love the AMG big grille in the center there with the AMG badging as well. There isn't a bad angle from the front, I don't think. It looks much nicer than the very pointed nose of the predecessor. The initial GLA to me was just more coupey and more hatchbacky. This is much more of an SUV, and the front definitely gives you that idea. So as with all of my videos, I love talking about the wheels and the brakes and the overall look of the tire area. And on this GLA 35, these are 19-inch 10-spoke AMG matte black wheels, which I think, in my opinion, aren't the sexiest AMG wheels you've ever seen. They kind of look like what comes in a base model car, and this is by no means a base model crossover Mercedes Benz. I love the big brake calipers, of course, with the AMG lettering right there on the front. There are four-wheel disc brakes the entire way around. These ones are slotted and ventilated for dissipating heat. You got AMG kind of stamped right in there to the side of the wheel. The only good thing about these, I guess, is if you've got brake dust going everywhere, it would be tough to see because it blends in right with the black. So they kind of maybe always look clean, but not the nicest, the sexiest, the coolest AMG wheels I've ever seen. So let's talk safety for a second here on the 2021 GLA 35. This thing is stuffed with a lot of driver assistance and safety features, things like front automatic emergency braking, blind spot monitoring, crosswind mitigation, rain sensing windshield wipers, and the driver assistance package, which is an option on the GLA 35, adds things like adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, front cross traffic alert, emergency evasive steering as well, and semi-autonomous lane changing capability. And no matter which GLA you get, the front wheel drive, the 4MATIC, the AMG, the non-AMG, all of them have 7 airbags standard. So this thing is super safe and super loaded up on safety features, which should give you some peace of mind whenever you're driving one around. And let's talk financial safety. 4 years, 50,000 mile warranty on the 2021 GLA. So a decent peace of mind there as well. So Mercedes is known for like having these packages worth hundreds and thousands of dollars that really up the ante on their cars, up the price on their cars, and this AMG GLA 35 is no different. This has a $750 AMG night package, and all that does is add some like black glossy trim to a few things on the car. One of them is this roof rail right here, which looks really nice. It's not super pronounced. It's kind of lower to the roof line. I don't know how much you can actually do with it. It's better than having none, I guess. But one of the other things come up here is look at this. On the side view mirrors, there's nice gloss black trim around the side turn signal indicator on both sides, obviously. A few other things as far as AMG goes, there's some inserts in the back for like fake vents. There's some tailpipe additions for the night package, but that package and other ones, this one also has like another $1,000 premium package that really just skyrockets the price on these cars. So keep an eye on those whenever you're ordering one of these. The price can get away from you really, really fast. All right, so here on the inside of the 2021 GLA 35, like I said before, it is bigger all the way around except for the length, a little bit shorter, like 0.3 inches shorter than its predecessor. But here in the front headroom is 30.9 inches, 30.9 inches here in the front, and there's plenty of room for even my big hat. My big hat isn't even touching unless I sit up really far in my seat, right? In the rear, the headroom is 38.1 inches, so much more headroom in the back because the seats are a little bit lower. All around a much bigger car than the previous first generation GLA. In comparing this to like, the Audi Q3, the Q3 is only bigger in one area, and that is in front headroom. The Q3 is smaller in rear legroom, rear headroom, front legroom. It is only bigger in front headroom, the Q3 is. Let's get into some of the technology here. I mean, look at this dash. It is just stunning. Let's dive in. All right, so the cockpit is pretty familiar. If you've seen other reviews of 2020 or 2021 Mercedes-Benz, this looks really familiar. The same kind of steering wheel, the same big screens here. These are both the 10.3-inch screens, one for the driver, one for the center console here. The standard, though, in this is 7-inch screens, dual 7-inch screens. These are the 10.3 inches, obviously an upgrade. The same kind of like jet intake or air intake type vents here on the dash. Very familiar if you've been inside a Mercedes-Benz or seen a review of them. You still control this screen with this little controller right here on the right side of the steering wheel. You can scroll through all sorts of audio options. You can also touch the screen. Mercedes-Benz would like you not to do that though, because they also give you a touchpad right here. So you can control this via the touchpad, control it actually by touching the screen or by just doing the little mouse button over here. And again, I'm not going to go through the MBUX, the Mercedes-Benz Mercedes-Benz user experience, because there's so much that I've already gone over, and if you've seen one, you've seen all of them. They're all kind of the same. Lots of different options for the screen. Still beautiful, still really clear, still has great quality to it. It's almost overwhelming, as I've said before. There's so many options in there. No need to go over them again. But as other cars, in similar cars, the left-hand side also controls this. What's a little bit different is because since this is an AMG model, let's zoom in here and get the lighting right, you can control kind of how sporty this tachometer, speedometer area looks. So down here, if you swipe up, right, you can swipe up in the center and can change all sorts of things depending on what quadrant you're highlighting. So right now I'm changing things over here. And whenever you do swipe up on the little button, it'll change things. So over there, you know, there's the miles per gallon. Here's the route schedule. There's XM radio. There's my miles per hour. In the center, obviously, is the tachometer. And if I swipe over on this, you can actually highlight the center then as well. And you can change things in the centerpiece or on the other side as well. Navigation type stuff, consumption, your overall feel of the car, the drive, how much horsepower and boost you're using at any one moment. So it's very much more AMG oriented, much more sport oriented. It's more than I need. I kind of just like a nice speedometer and a tachometer. If you do push the home button, by the way, zoom out here for you. You can control how this looks, you know, in one fell swoop. You push trip, it makes it all more trip oriented. Go back to home, you can make it performance driven, which again is, you know, that boost and everything else. So there's a lot to do there. The steering wheel is, of course, as always, super sturdy, really well built, really hefty, great to the touch. I love all the brushed aluminum trim on the steering wheel, much nicer than the previous steering wheels were in those you know, initial 2014, 2015 GLAs. You've got your paddle shifters here on both sides, the traditional Mercedes-Benz stocks on either side as well. Over here, you do have really nice buttons for the GLA, the heated and ventilated seats on this model, the traditional Mercedes-Benz power seat options with memory 1, 2, and 3. Everything, no matter what you touch, feels great, feels really well made. Nothing really feels super cheap. The only thing I'm not a super big fan of is the center armrest here, only because it's really small and it doesn't go deep really at all. I mean, it looks a little bit deeper on camera than it actually is, but it's super skinny. So like, I mean, all it can, like, look at my hand. My arm takes up the whole thing. So you have to like almost have it half off for the other person over here to share it with you. It makes it harder also for, you know, entry of, you know, an item or something, but there are 2 USB-C outlets right down in there as well. Let's go over here to the touchpad area. This is very familiar, very similar to other Mercedes-Benz as well, similar years. Zoom in here for you real quick. The touchpad, pretty understandable. The dynamic driving modes, if you swipe down on those, you can change it to sport, comfort, individual, and there's new on this one is slippery this year. There's still also Sport Plus. So Sport Plus, Sport, Comfort, Individual, and Slippery. Back down here at the touchpad, the volume for the audio system, which is the 12-speaker Burmester, it really thumps. All right, maybe you can't tell on the computer on the video you're watching now, but it really is nice and clear, super thumpy, very nice bass, which I love in a car. All your different navigation, telephone, radio options here, again, very similar to all other Mercedes-Benz. But as you can see, look at the accent lighting right here on the side of the center console, right here. There's like a 64 color different settings you can add for the different coloring and everything. Let's go to light, ambient lighting, and go to color. And look at this, you can change all sorts of options. Purple sky, fire red, all sorts of options. Maybe it's not 64. I know some Mercedes-Benz have a lot of colors that you can choose from. Oh, there it is. Haha, look at that. I should have researched this before I started filming, but you know what? I didn't. All sorts of different options for the color wheel can make the ambient lighting in the car look any color that you really want. It's kind of cool. It's the only thing that I think is really great about having such an involved user experience system. There's a lot of customization. One more USB-C port right there with your cup holders. Love the keys on the 2021 GLA. AMG, kind of like gunmetal gray. Feels really great. It actually has some heft to it. There's no way for me to like show that to you, but it feels really great to the touch. It's super Really, really cool. Love that key as well. This particular car also has the the wireless charging pad right here for your phone if your phone is equipped for it. You've also got a traditional, outlet there as well. The cup holders on these do pop out, which is cool for a smaller cup to be held better. That's just not really nice. Not every car does that. Like that a lot. But let's talk about the dash itself. I actually really like just that it's all one color. So many cars, and Mercedes-Benz does do it in some of their vehicles, put like dark gray or light gray up top and dark black down here, and like it's almost so contrasted that it's kind of annoying, but I really kind of like this. It's all black, very nice to the touch. It's not super plasticky. It feels a little plasticky right here, but it also pushes in a little bit, so there's some foaminess, some bounce to it, but it feels okay. All the vents feel great, per usual. They're really hefty, really sturdy as well. Hefty is my favorite word of the day, I think. But over here on the door again, a nice little area for your arm to rest. These handles feel nice when you grip them. There's some storage down here as well. The Burmester speaker right there. I have to open up the door for it. Right there as well. 12 speakers in all. You've got your nice cargo hatch right there, the little button for it. Right here by your knees, you've got your parking brake, the lights, the rear fog light, the interior lights as well. A nice thunk to the door. Let's do a nice thunk to the door. Yeah, solid. Sounds good, right? But yeah, not many complaints as far as the front area goes, the cockpit. I mean, I think it looks really, really nice for being a lower model SUV in the Mercedes-Benz lineup. You got the nice tweeter speakers up there for the Burmester system. Again, this system is really nice. It's obviously an option. The standard, I think, is a 6-speed or a 6-speaker rather system. But the Burmester is definitely nice if you're an audiophile like I am. Up top, traditional Mercedes-Benz look there as well. All the different lights and things you could ever want. The different SOS options in case you're ever stranded. You've got the big sunroof. Let's see if this will go back. Woohoo! It opened up for us. There it goes. But it's a dual pane, so there's one right there, and there's another one in the back. Really great, tons of visibility if you're someone who likes to look at the sky or whatever else. Super easy to use, one button, one push. But back to the front here, I want to talk about the piano-style buttons here for the climate control. I love these. I have a 2018 Mercedes-Benz C-Class, and they have a version of this, but the 2021 version looks much better. The GLB has these as well, and they're awesome. They feel really great, and they look classy. They look like, hey, they put some thought and design into this. But the overall cockpit, a really, really nice place to be. No major complaints, tons more room. I do want to talk about the seats here. The seats are super comfortable. Look at them. They both look a little bit more gray in the center than black on the outside. They are ventilated and heated on this particular model of the GLA 35. You got the classic thigh support here as well. It's not automatic. Like sometimes on Mercedes-Benz they'll put the little notch right there for you to move it with power assistance. This is manual, which on a $58,000 car, I'd like to see that not be manual, but I can't have everything. But you do have ventilated and heated options as well. You get your lumbar support down there. Same on the passenger side. But the leather is super nice and conforming to your body. Sometimes it can be really stiff because they make it really, really sporty, which really affects how the seats feel. But they're nicely bolstered, but they're bolstered in a way that isn't overwhelmingly grippy and overwhelmingly stiff. They're nice, and I call it squishy and comfortable. I'm sure there's a more innovative industry term, but hey, that's what I call it. The seats definitely a win for me, especially up here in the front. So here in the back seat, look how high the seat looks. And I don't have it like at some crazy position. That's how much more room is in the back of these things than in the previous model. There's a ton, look at this. Like there's a whole, you could fit like, two big boots, two big work boots underneath there. There's tons of room. Let's get in. So other than, looking at the front with my, nasty coat and everything all over the seat, it's a nice view of the cockpit. The back seat has surprisingly a lot of space. I have the seat exactly where I would keep it if I was driving. And look at this. I'm nowhere near to touching the seat, and my feet, I could like do a little dance. make a little love. Yeah, there's tons of room back here. It's really kind of great. And the doors are definitely small. I mean, the doors are not big. They're not commanding at all whenever you open them up. They don't swing super wide. But there's a lot of room back here. I'm really impressed with how Mercedes-Benz was able to put so much room in the back of this thing. My mother had a 2015 GLA, one of the first models that ever came out, and it was so tight in the back, your head would just whack no matter what size you were. Even for smaller people, it was tough to be back here. But they've done a great job making this much more SUV-like. Got your speaker here, your nice handle, everything feels, again, nice to the touch, quality material, map pockets right here on both sides. Little mini versions of the vents for the back passengers. You've got two more outlets here for USB-Cs. You've also got a two-pronged outlet in case you need that. You do have a little bit of a lip, or a little more of a bump rather, right here, obviously for the powertrain system, since this is the 4MATIC option. But you know, even if you have to sit with your knees a little bit higher, I still think you'll have enough room, especially if you're a little bit short of a person. The seats back here, the same design as the front of the car, but I'll be real, these are a little bit more stiff. They're not as comfortable as the front. And again, they're not heated or ventilated, so maybe that has something to do with the composition of the seat, but they're not as comfortable. They're a little more stiff than the front, which, you know, they're still really nice. They're still comfortable enough, but not as comfy as the front seats. You do have a center armrest here with two built-in cup holders which pop out just like that. Not my favorite design in the whole world, because whenever you put a cup in, it's kind of easy, but taking the cup out, like, I found that they can kind of like grip onto the cup oddly if you don't take it out at the right angle. Plus, they're just kind of odd. They look like beetle wings or something. I don't know. I think they should just be standard, one big piece that pops out. Either way, not a big complaint. This goes right up and flush with the rear seat here. Then you've got room for three in the back. And also, fun fact about these seats back here, you can slide them back and forth. Ready? Little lever down here underneath each side, and you can just slide the seat depending on where you want it to be. If you need more cargo room in the back, if you need less leg room for whatever reason, you can slide both sides. And the part where my camera is sitting, you can also slide that part. So it's kind of cool. Lots of different options back here. By the way, this little tether right here on both sides is how you get these seats to fold flat. So with a bigger GLA, you would expect the cargo space to be bigger, and I think you'd be right. Back here with the second row still up, you've got about 15.4 cubic feet of space. With those seats down, you get about 50.5 cubic feet of space, which is a lot for a small little, you know, SUV like this. Underneath here, of course, you've got all your standard little areas for storage, all sorts of road tools that you might need. There is no full-on spare in this car, as is the case with many newer cars these days. You kind of just have a fix-it kit instead. Little small spaces to store, I don't know, you know, bottles or some different tools you might need along the way on both sides. Not a ton of little storage areas, but definitely big enough back here for a weekend getaway, maybe 3 or 4 big luggage bags, big suitcases, but all of the GLAs also have this nice security cover that attaches right on to the roof, which is great. Cover up all your valuables, that kind of thing. And on this particular model, you've got 2 handles, which is cool. You can grab it from either side, depending on what hand you prefer to use. You've also got the lock button and the power up and down, which is a nice option. So AMG has been around for forever, right? And everyone knows, if you're in a Mercedes-Benz, what they're all about. They're stiffer suspension, more power, more horsepower, more noise, more everything on whatever model it's applied to, right? But I feel like in 2020, 2021, Mercedes-Benz is adding AMG performance and styling and packages to any car. It used to be reserved for the higher-end super sports car type things, and now the entry-level Mercedes-Benzes are getting the AMG treatment, which, good or bad, you know, that's not up for debate here, but I can tell you that AMG models account for like 12% of Mercedes-Benz's sales in the United States, which is a lot of their sales. I mean, they're more expensive overall, of course, because of all the AMG features, but they account for 12% of Mercedes-Benz's sales. So apparently they're doing something right by applying the higher end treatment to the lower end cars. I'm not sure what you guys think about that. Let me know in the comments below if you think AMG is being applied to too many vehicles. So that is it for this review of this 2021 Mercedes-Benz GLA 35, the AMG GLA 35, whatever way you want to say it. It's a sexy looking car and much better than its predecessor. Taller, wider, much more space on the inside. The price is obviously also a little bit higher. Hope you enjoyed this review today of this 2021 GLA 35. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel below here on Overdrive Reviews. I think that is it for this review. We'll see you all next time.